Hello, this discussion is about international human resource management IHRM practices in the United States, Germany, Japan, and the Philippines. For a brief introduction for IHRM, an overview, it's an international involves managing human resources in multinational organization addressing global integration and local responsiveness. In culture in HIM, model of organizational behavior. This is culture influences individual and a group of behavioral within organizations. This is Hofstede's cultural dimensions model helps how values like individualism and versus collectivism empower the sense effect management styles and employee expectations. The opportunities, understanding diverse cultural contexts, enhance cross-border collaborations, innovations, and talent attraction. The challenges: miscommunication, resistance to global policies, and ethnocentric practice may arise without the adequate cultural competitiveness. In regional differences, let's say the opportunities, regional diversity allows access to varied talent pools, innovations, and labor cost advantage. What's the challenge there? It's a legal complexities, varying labor standards, and differences in employee expectations can create strategic and ethical dilemmas. In terms of in global context, the HR revolution has evolved from administrative functions to strategic roles, aligning global business objectives with talent strategies. In balancing global goals with local needs, IRSM must tailor policies to fit local legal, cultural, and economic environments while maintaining corporate consistency. Sector-focused construction industry. So it is essential in the global construction sector due to high mobility, labor, safety, and regulations. That construction industry is viable global and supports infrastructure development and economic growth. That's across skilled across border workforce management. Now, it's the practice in the United States. Let's discuss about the HR philosophy. In the United States, a strong focus on of individual performance and accountability. They also have decentralized decision making with HR autonomy and business at business unit levels. Emphasis on and will employment, which allows flexibility in hiring and termination. And lastly, legal frameworks such as equal employment opportunity and occupational health and safety administration shape HR policies behaviors. Key HR practices. They are performance-based compensation, use of incentive systems such as bonuses, stock, and options to drive productivity, and talent management and leadership development. This is heavily invested in identifying and grooming future leaders. Training and development, diversity, equity, and inclusion. This significant emphasis on anti-discrimination, diversity, hiring, and inclusive practices. Lastly, the technology integration. It is the widespread use of HR analytics, applicant tracking system, and AI-driven recruitment. Let's say it's in how it impacts the construction sector in the industry in the US. And in the US, construction, let's say in the US, it's the construction HR sector practice that typically influence productivity, safety, and workforce mobility. They have balanced goals with local needs, safety-focused construction, project-based staffing, and so on. Now, in the evaluation of HR, IRHM practice in the United States, let's discuss about the organizational behavior. Individualism over collectivism. In the US, organization value independence, personal responsibility, and individual achievement. Employees are expected to take initiative and self-resilience. Low power distance. Open communications hierarchical levels is encouraged. Managers are often seen as facilitators rather than authority. Task-oriented culture. This is about work forces us results driven with emphasis on efficiency. Short-term orientation. That's US firms prioritizes quarterly results and fast return incomes. Key challenges in US diversity management. Although US companies strive for inclusion, managing a multicultural and multi-generational workforce remains complex. Work-life balance. A culture of long working hours and constant availability leads to burnout and disengagement. Global standardization versus local adaptation. The US-based MNCs often struggle to balance applying their home country HR practices across international subsidiaries. Compliance risk. This is usually the US navigating labor laws like EEO, ADA, OSHA, and state level requires constant HR vigilance. So for the best practices, it is data-driven HR, use of HR analytics to guide decision-making in hiring, compensation, and performance. Leadership development programs, flexible work arrangements. Companies invested in structured pathways to build future leaders, often with international exposures. It's a practice in Germany in terms of HR philosophy. A rules-based approach, grounded in strong labor legislation, respect for employee rights and job security. A long-term orientation focuses skills development, stability, and loyal over short-term performance gains. The key practices in Germany: co-determination. Co-determination, which implies employees participate in supervisory boards, works, and councils. This is strengthens trust and labor relations. Vocational training and dual education. This is Germany's dual system combines classroom education with on-the-job training, creating highly skilled workers. Structured career paths and internal labor markets. These promotions are based on tenure and qualifications rather than involve individual performance alone. Collective bargaining agreements. These industry-wide agreements determine wages, working hours, and conditions, reducing wage inequality and standardizing HR policies. Emphasis on work-life balance. German labor law mandates generous leave policies, shorter working hours, and strong family-oriented protections. In terms of construction impacts, skilled labor supply through apprenticeships. This dual education system ensures a pipeline of technical trained professionals, reducing skill shortage in construction trades. Compliance with health, safety, and environmental standards. This HR plays a critical role in implementing rigorous regulatory requirements at the site level. Stable labor relations. This works Council helps mediate disputes and supports smooth labor operations across long-term projects. Project planning consistency. This is a predictable HR regulations and collective bargaining outcomes enable an accurate and cross-labor planning. Emphasis on quality and craftsmanship. Cultural values embedded in HR practice support detailed planning and high construction standards. Evaluation of IHRM practice in Germany. Organizational behavior, let's say cross-cultural communication collaboration. Employees from different national cultures work together, often remotely. Decentralized decision-making. Local subsidiaries may be empowered to adapt HR policies to fit regional norms. Diverse leadership and team. Leadership styles vary across cultures, authoritative in some regions, participative in the others. Global talent mobility. Frequent expatriate assignments and international transfers. What are the common challenges? Cultural alignments. Misunderstanding and conflict may arise from different communication styles, power distance, and orientations. Legal and institutional complexity. Navigating diverse labor laws, tax systems, and union regulations can be costly, time-consuming. Global performance management. Difficulties in applying consistent evaluation standard across regions with differing norms. Resistance to change. Employees in host countries may resist HQ-led initiatives and don't fit local values or work cultures. In terms of best practices in global, adapting cross-cultural training equips employees with tools to navigate intercultural teams and build trust. Creating inclusive HR policies. This is to standardizing global values while allowing regional flexibility. Local responsiveness with global integration. This is encourage local innovations while aligning with company-wide goals. Developing a local leadership pipeline. Use of succession planning and international assignments to build borders, leadership, and competitiveness. Practice in Japan for HR philosophy. Japan's HR policy emphasizes lifelong employment, group harmony, WA we call it, and then seniority-based advancements. Key HR-based wage and promotion system. Systems are still common, though merit-based systems are increasingly in multinational settings. Soshin Koyo lifetime employment remains a symbolic standard in many large companies. Namawashi. It ensures all voices are heard, preventing conflict and fostering trust. Kaizen practices in training are embedded in training and performance management. Extensive training and monitoring, particularly for new graduates, are hallmarks of HR practices in Japan. It's the impact of construction sector. Safety, discipline, and quality control, the group-oriented philosophy. And however, the aging workforce or lack of foreign labor integration present in HR challenges. There's rising for cross-cultural HR adaptability, especially as the Japanese firms engage in overseas construction projects are welcome for foreign technical interns under Japan's TITP program. Evaluation of IHRM practice in Japan. Organizational behavior, collectivism and harmony. That's what. Hierarchy and respect for seniority. Consensus-oriented decision making. Lifetime employment and loyalty. So the key challenges. aging workforce and labor shortage, resistance to foreign talent integration, gender ambience, slow decision making. The best practices in Japan are Kaizen, which is applied across all the sectors, total quality management, integrated into HR and operations to promote accountability, structured training programs, particularly for new graduates, collaborative team environment promoting loyalty, retention, and a shared commitment to organizational goals. Practices in the Philippines. What are the HR philosophies? People-centric or relational approach, power distance, strong collectivist culture, welfare, emotional, and maintaining smooth interpersonal relations. What are the key HR practices? These are close supervisions and hierarchical structure. Managers often take parental or authoritative role. Employer development programs. These are many locals or multinational firms invest in trainings. Flexible labor contracts and outsourcing, especially common in sectors like construction and BPOs. Strong focus on work-life balance and family values. Filipino HR practices consider social needs, religious holidays, and family obligations in the policy design. Impact on construction sector is the availability of skilled and semi-skilled labor. The Philippines produce number of engineers and skilled construction workers annually. High demand for overseas employment. Many Filipinos construction workers seek opportunities abroad, creating a competitive local talent market. Strong adaptability and cultural sensitivity. Filipino workers are known for cross-cultural adaptability and making them ideal for multinational construction firms. Labor-related challenges. Issues like project-based contracts, lack of benefits, and union fragmentations affect long-term retention and industrial relations. Okay, evaluation of organizational behavior. High power distance. Employees are regularly deferential to authority and expected clear directives from managers. Collectivist culture. Emphasis on team harmony, loyalty, and smooth interpersonal relations. Indirect communication style. Filipinos tend to avoid confrontational and use polite, non-confrontational language, which may affect feedbacks, delivery, and performance management. What are the key challenges? Retention issues. Due to attractive overseas employment opportunities, particularly in engineering and construction fields, companies face higher attrition and brain drain. Limited assertiveness in feedback. That's the cultural emphasis on harmony can limit open discussions, leading to unresolved international issues and missed performance improvement opportunities. What are the best practices? Relational leadership. Managers who can balance authority with approachability and empathy are more effective in motivating Filipino teams. Customized training and mentoring. Programs that can combine upskilling with values formation enhance employee loyalty and cultural alignment. Family-oriented HR policies. Reorganizing religious holidays, family emergencies, and local custom boost employee engagement and retention. Thus, career pathways for overseas returnees. Construction firms benefit by creating roles for returning OFWs who bring global experience and technical expertise. These are the comparative analysis for the four countries, the US, Germany, Japan, and the Philippines. Let's say check all the dimensions from here. Let's say hub states cultural dimensions, high individual, low power distance, low uncertainty and avoidance. In Germany, low power distance, high uncertainty and avoidance, high individualism. In Japan, high uncertainty, avoidance, high power, distance, collectivists. In the Philippines, high power, distance, collectivists, and high context. And leadership styles, we have geopolitical context. And in the US, it's a transformational and participative driven by innovations and autonomy. In Germany, democratic and consultative influenced by determination laws and institutions. In Japan, let's say paternalistic, hierarchical values local and seniority. The Philippines, directive yet nurturing leadership, often rooted in authority and family values. And alongside these dimensions, organizational behavior model, recruitment and selection, training development, performance compensation and benefits. We also have employee relations, HR challenges, employee engagement, employee factors, HR innovations, ethical HRM, best of theory, fits, best fit location and sector. Let's say in the US tech service sector, flexible, inclusive HR. In Germany, let's say the best fit location is manufacturing and engineering. Japan, electronics and automotive. Philippines is BPO and services. This is the conclusion and the future trends. To ensure success in HRM, organizations must tailor practices to ensure cultural norms, economic conditions, and legal frameworks of each country. Understanding these contextual elements in the US, Germany, Japan, and in the Philippines allow for more effective global HR strategies that respect local dynamics while supporting international objectives. The future of IRSM lies in being adaptive, culturally sensitive, and legally compliant across diverse regions. So these are examples of the cultural impacts, economic impact, and legal impact and future trends for the board for the four countries such as the US, Germany, Japan, and the Philippines. Let's take a look, or let's take example from the US. It's the cultural impact. Individualistic culture emphasizes performance-based rewards, self-management, and mobility. How about we go to the Philippines? It's high context, family oriented, and hierarchical culture values loyalty and respect for authority. In Japan, for deep respect for hierarchy, harmony, and seniority affects leadership styles and performance reviews. In Germany, it's a collective and consensus driven culture, emphasizes determination and structured work environments. And in terms of the future trends in the US, it emphasizes on diversity, equity, inclusion, flexibility, work arrangements, and AI integration. And in Germany, growth of sustainability, focus on HR, continued support for vocational and training and EU regulatory compliance. And in Japan, an increased adaptation of flexible work, gender equality, and slow shift towards merit-based system. And in the Philippines, continued expansion of remote work, HR, digitalization, and emphasis. Well, these are all the references that we gathered. So let's say from the Andler, international dimensions, organizational behaviors, Rooster, globalizing human resources, and the like. Guys, thank you so much.